Hello, so this is A-level physics and today we are going to start with March 23, paper 1, variant 2. So question number 1 is that what represents a physical quantity? Do bear in mind that physical quantity has a magnitude unit, so C is the appropriate answer. Question number 2 says that if the relationship between variable D and T is by given, what are the units of B and C? So this is a homogeneous question of a homogeneous equation, so 1 over T must be equal to C. So T is second, so C must be equal to 1 over second, and the unit of B must be equal, B over square root D must be equal to 1 over S. So the unit of B must be meters per second. So B is the appropriate answer. Question number 3 says that a hollow cylinder has a radius and length. What are the values of the absolute uncertainty? The surface area is 2 pi r h. We can find the percentage uncertainty in r and h by 0.1 over 3 into 100 and 0.1 over 15 into 100, which is 0.66 and 3.53. So the total percentage uncertainty in the surface area is 4%. So the actual surface area is 2 pi r h is 282. So the absolute uncertainty in the surface area is change in S over S into 100 is equals to 4 and it is 11.3. Do bear in mind that the error is taken up to 1 SF, so it would be 10 and the value is in accordance with the decimal places of the error. So the appropriate answer is A, 280 plus minus 2. Question number 4 says that a snooker ball before collision and after collision is shown and find the magnitude of the change in them. We just need to apply the head to tail rule and find the resultant using the Pythagoras formula 0.4 into 0.2 and 0.3 into 0.2. So the change is square root of momentum, initial momentum square plus final momentum square. Because it is a vector quantity, so the change is found by vectorial sum. So B is the appropriate answer. Question number 5 says that during a projectile, which motion is never zero? So the only answer is that the horizontal component of the ball's velocity would never be zero. The rest would be zero. A acceleration, horizontal acceleration is always zero because no force is acting. The vertical component of the ball momentum is zero at the highest point, so is the ball's velocity. So question number 6 says that the graph shows the variation with time t of the displacement s of an object. Displacement time is given, we need to find the acceleration time. From this displacement time, the velocity time is this, and from this velocity time, the acceleration time would be a zero line, but with spikes at these intervals. So the D is the appropriate answer. Question number 7 says that which expression defines force? So force is rate of change of momentum, so D is the appropriate answer. Question number 8 says that a ship of mass is this, we're moving with velocity and a stopping force of 920,000. How long will it take to stop? The backward force is given, so forward minus backward is equals to ma. We can find the deceleration. After finding the deceleration, the final velocity is 0, the initial velocity is 16.4, acceleration could be found, and time is 25 minutes. Question number 9 says that an object is being introduced into the Earth's atmosphere. Atmosphere means that there is a resistance, so terminal velocity graph, the popular terminal velocity graph D is the appropriate answer. Question number 10 says that which statement about collision is correct? The kinetic energy is conserved in all collisions. No, kinetic energy is not conserved in inelastic collision. Momentum is only conserved in perfectly elastic collision. Momentum is conserved in all types of collision, either it is elastic or inelastic. C says that relative speed of approach is equal to the relative speed of separation for elastic collision. That's perfectly correct. And D says that when two objects of different masses collide, they exert force of different magnitude. No, the forces are according to Newton's third law. That's also incorrect. So question number 11 says that a satellite, what are the magnitudes of torque and resultant? So that's a simple torque couple question. So torque is the force multiplied by the distance. The forces are separated perpendicular distance, so that's 180, and the translational force is 0 because upward is equals to downwards. So C is the proper answer. Question number 12 says that the diagram shows the hanging of a picture. So which is correct? That's a greater angle. We are assuming it 60-60, and a smaller angle we are assuming it 30-30. So R1 equals to T1 cos 60, and that is R2 equals to T2 cos 30. So for this, the cos 60 is a smaller value. If we assume that R1 and R2 are equal, so cos 60 is a smaller value and cos 30 is a greater value. So if cos 60 is a smaller value, T1 must be greater and T2 must be smaller. So T1 is greater than T2 if R1 is equals to R2. So B is the appropriate answer. The rest would not correspond with the above equation. Question number 13 says that what is the average pressure? Pressure is force over area. The force is the weight of the object, which is mg. Mass is density into volume, and volume, it's a hemisphere, so 2 over 3 pi r cube. Area is the surface area, which is a circle, pi r square, so cancelling it up give 2 over 3 rho rg. D is the appropriate answer. That's a repeated question. It has been asked before. Question number 14 says that find the volume given that the tension, weight, and upthrust could be found. The object, the sphere is in equilibrium, so upthrust is equals to weight plus tension, so equals to 7 Newton. So the upthrust force is 7 is rho GV. The density is the density of the liquid, G is 9.81, and V is the volume of the sphere itself. So volume could be found from the expression. Question number 15 says that what is the center of gravity? That's a famous question, the point at which the weight of an object can be considered to act. Question number 16 says that a system with an efficiency of 74% wastes 230 watts of power. What is the useful output power of the system? So 26% is of the input is 230 watts. So the input power is 884 watts. So the output power is 884 minus 230, which is 650 watts. So C is the appropriate answer. Question number 17 says that a projectile of mass 0.25 kg is at a height of 30 with speed 15, and then at a height of 35 with speed 5. What is the work done against resistance? First, find the change in potential energy mgh, which is 12.26 joules, and then find the change in kinetic energy, which is half mv square minus v square, which is 25 joules. If there was no air resistance, then the change must be equal, but because there is air resistance, so there is a deficit which is equal to the work done against resistance, which is 13 joules. So B is the appropriate answer. Question number 18 says that a string has an unstretched length of 4.5 centimeter. The spring is fixed at one end and the force of 35 newtons is applied to the other end. What is the strain of the extended spring? We need to find the strain. Strain is basically extension over length. Extension could be found for applying a Hooke's law, which is F is equals to KE. So E equals to F over K. F is given, K is given, and substituting the values would gives you C 1.85. Question number 19 says that what does the graph shows about this? It shows that it is an elastic graph because Hooke's law is not being obeyed, yet the material comes to its original position. So it's an elastic graph. It is not plastic because there is no permanent deformation. So B is the proper answer. Question number 20 says that in progressive waves, two particles are P and Q are given. The phase difference show that what is the graph for the phase difference. So the particles are on the same wave, so basically they are coherent. So constant phase differences between them. For example, if the phase difference is like 4 by 360 270 degrees, so it would remain 270 degree because the wave, they are lying on the same wave. So constant, so it would be a straight line. So D is the appropriate answer. Which statement about the longitudinal wave and transverse wave is not correct? Both waves can be polarized. No, the longitudinal waves cannot be polarized, the transverse waves can be polarized. Both waves can form stationary waves, both waves energy transfer, and both obey V is equals to F lambda. It says that an observer hears a sound, the observed frequency is less than the frequency of the sound. So the frequency is less, so that means that the wavelengths have expanded. So if the wavelengths have expanded, so the object is moving away, so A is the appropriate answer. Question number 23 says that what is the approximate range of the frequencies of electromagnetic radiations? So the visible spectrum starts from violet, which is 400 nanometers, to red, 700 nanometers. So converting one with V is equals to F lambda, V being 3 to 10 per 8, would give you violet as 750 terahertz and red as 430 terahertz. So D is the appropriate answer. Question number 24 says that a beam of vertically polarized light is incident normally on a polarizing filter. The filter can be rotated. The filter is first rotated by an angle 30 degrees so that the transmitted light have intensity I30. So I30 is basically I naught into cos 30 whole square, which is I30 is 0.75 I naught. So it says the filter is then rotated clockwise by a further angle of 30 degrees. It is then rotated further. What is the new intensity of the in terms of I30? So the new intensity would be after it will be rotated further 30, so it would be 60 degrees. So it would become cos squared 60, and instead of I naught we can write an expression in form of I30, which is I30 over 0.75, and the final answer would be 0.33 I30. Question number 25 says, that's a repeated question basically. It says that a mouthpiece makes an antinode at one end and node at one end. So what would the basic frequency is 92 hertz. Excuse me. So what would be the frequencies produced? So that's after analyzing the fundamental node, the first overtone, the second overtone, we find that the frequencies are odd multiple of fundamental frequency. So C is the appropriate answer. Question number 26 says that two waves of equal frequency and amplitude are traveling in opposite directions. When they meet, they form a stationary wave with 3 nodes and 2 antinodes. The frequency of the wave is doubled and a new stationary wave is formed. How many antinodes are formed in the new wave? The frequency is directly proportional to the antinodes. So before there were 2 antinodes, so now there would be 4 antinodes. So D is the appropriate answer. So it says, question number 27 says that a transmitting mass sends out microwaves of wavelength 0.7. That's a repeated question. A receiving aerial behind the mountain can detect the radio waves, but not the microwaves. This is because of diffraction. So B is the appropriate answer. That's shadow region. Question number 28 says that waves are emitted from two coherent sources. Coherent sources is constant phase difference. Which statement about the waves must be correct? So they have constant phase difference. C is the appropriate answer. Question number 29 says that a diagram is shown with all its letters. Which quantities between the first order diffraction maxima on the screen affect the distance? So it's saying it's asking about for the change which affects sine theta. So D affects sine theta because that's the distance between the fringes. Lambda affects the wavelength affects. L, the length affects as the length increases. the theta decreases. So n does not affect. So A is the appropriate answer. N it does not affect because it has already been compensated here, D, which is the distance between the fringes. Question number 30 says that a wire consists of 0.1 microampere, potential difference of 10 millivolts, how much energy in 10 seconds. So power is energy over time, energy is power into time, power is IVT. So energy could be written as 0.110. So this becomes 10 nanojoules. So D is the appropriate answer. What is the definition of potential difference across the electrical component? So it is energy per unit charge. Question 32 says that which graph represents the way the current through a filament lamp. Remember that through a filament lamp the resistance increases, and through a semiconductor diode the resistance decreases. So that's a filament lamp, so the resistance increases. That's IV graph, so the gradient must be decreasing. So B is the appropriate answer. This graph is for a filament lamp, this graph is for diode, and this graph is of a ohmic conductor. Question number 33 says that what is the diameter of the cross section? That's a simple question of rho L over A. Just do the analysis. Rho L over A is rho L over R. Apply the changes. It would make area as 8 over 3 rho L over R, and then apply area as direct proportional to D square. So the diameter would become square root of 8 over 3D, which is 1.6 D. B is the appropriate answer. Question number 34 says that a cell has a constant electromotive force. Which statement about the change of the cell's terminal difference is correct? The terminal potential difference is decreased. The terminal potential difference is decreased as the resistance is decreased, the voltage decreases because more work is done in moving unit charge through the internal resistance. So A is the appropriate answer. B says that terminal potential is decreased because the current in the variable resistor is decreased. No, as the resistance would decrease, the current would increase. That's incorrect. So A is the appropriate answer. In C and D, it says the terminal potential difference is increased, so that's also incorrect. Question number 35 says that on which conservation law does Kirchhoff's law depend? So first law, the KCL depends upon the charge. The second law, KVL, depends upon the energy. So B is the appropriate answer. Question number 30 says that a circuit is given. What are the values of R and R? Apply KVL, Kirchhoff voltage law. Loop, the outer loop 1 is 10 equals 0.48 into 0.15 plus 0.93 R. Would give R as 3 ohms, and the loop number 2, the inner loop, would give the capital R as 14. So A is the appropriate answer. Question number 37 says that you are given with a thermistor and a situation is given which says that the output fixed resistor the fixed resistor output is 4.5 volts when the resistances were 12. So the total EMF would be 9 volts. So it says that when the temperature is 50 degree, what would be the V out? So we can apply the potential divider, 12 over 12 plus 5 into 9, which is 6.35. So C is the appropriate answer. Question number 38 says that what is the conclusion from the alpha scattering experiment? Alpha scattering experiment have the conclusion that the nucleus is dense, it is charged, and most of the space is empty, so it is small. The nucleus is small as compared to the whole atom. So C makes the correct conclusion that the nucleus contains most of the mass of the atom. It is dense. Question number 39 says that what are the values of A and C? Just apply the conservation of mass number and charge number, and which would give you A as 237 and Z as 93. A is the proper answer. Question number 40 says that a top quark has a charge of positive 2 by 3 E Where E is the elementary charge. What is the charge of an anti-top quark? So anti is always the opposite, so minus 2 by 3e. So that's it for this video. Do like and subscribe my channel. So basically there are many viewers who have not subscribed and are watching, so it's a request to please subscribe, like, and do press the bell icon so that you get every notification. Thank you.